Hi everybody, and welcome back to the KK Zone. As always, I am Kara Kaufman, here to guide you through another couple of days of fun Yankees spring training times. So I realized my last video was a lot about Gleyber Torres, and I was gonna apologize for that, but first of all, I'm not sorry. I love Gleyber, and everyone should know it. And second of all, I'm actually gonna double down here and start the episode today talking about our young shortstop. So, as I think I mentioned, Gleyber has tried to make a lot of defensive improvements, in addition to obviously bringing his hitting back to the level that we were all excited about prior to last year, which last year's an anomaly, we're tossing it. But the defense has been an ongoing concern for many people looking at Gleyber. Whether he'll stick there long term is an ongoing question. I am, as you know, a believer. Obviously, there was some work to do. So, I was watching Monday's game, which was televised, unlike every other game until Sunday. What you doing, Yes Network and MLB Network and everyone with cameras? Where are they? We want to see our guys. Anyway, Monday we could see our guys. It was very exciting. I watched the game. And Gleyber, in fact, did make an error, bad play, didn't look great. And then, throughout the rest of the game, after that, he didn't let it affect him. Two sparkling, really good plays. And I just think that is the most encouraging sign, because with young players, especially ones who know they're trying to turn the page on bad defense, we can watch things snowball. You make one mistake, and then you lose confidence, and all of a sudden you're booting every ball. So with Gleyber, it seems like he's really in a better mindset. Now, today's game, today's Wednesday, it was not televised today, but Brian Hoke of MLB did tweet that Gleyber charged a slow grounder, barehanded, and threw a strike to first for an out. So more good defense from Gleyber Torres. So that's my first item, is continuing love fest for young Gleyber Torres, and in particular, love fest for the improved defense. I think we're really seeing good signs of. So we love to see that. But defense wasn't the only thing Gleyber was working on in that game. It seemed like he also got on base and then stole second. Yeah, I mean, generally your shortstop is one of the best athletes on the team. He's fast, he's agile. Gleyber, not actually a great base runner from what we've seen so far. He doesn't steal a lot of bases. He's not the quickest in his acceleration, so, you don't see him steal a lot. So seeing him take off for second, and he made it, was a little surprising. But I think this is probably just some residual injury PTSD for me, but every time I watch someone slide into a base and not pop up right away, my mind goes to, oh God, he's hurt. And for Gleyber, he slid into second and then kind of lay down there for a little bit. And I was worried, to say the least. And then it turned out that what I thought might have been him shaking an arm in pain was actually him excitedly pumping his fist. I've never seen someone so excited to make it to second base in a spring training game. It was crazy. So my hypothesis on this is that somebody had a bet with Gleyber that he couldn't steal second, or similar, and Gleyber won. It was lovely. This is the photo of him sliding into second. You'll see there, he's just so psyched. If I had to put money on it, I'd say it was Brett Gardner, knowing that the kind of guy Brett Gardner is. A, he's one of the fastest guys on the team, and B, he likes to stir things up a little bit in a fun way. In any event, Gleyber was thrilled to steal second, and that was fun to see. We also got this awesome photo of this moment, also from Twitter, which the Yankees were playing the Phillies in this particular game, and you know, Gleyber and Didi did play together for a year, with Gleyber at second and Didi at short. Loved that combo. They clearly got along great. They had their famous little dance celebration. Whenever someone hit a homer, they would do a little salsa. Or at the end of a game they won, they come together in the middle infield, and yeah, it was adorable. Anyway, suffice to say, they are friends. They are no longer on the same team, alas. But after that stolen base, the Brian Hoke, again, with his camera, caught Gleyber just kind of poking Didi in the ribs repeatedly. So I'm thinking, first of all, he's in a great mindset and super happy. Second of all, really excited to steal a base, a rarity for him. And third of all, just like super psyched to be playing with his old friend Didi, on opposite sides now, but on the same field. So that was great. I loved everything about that on Monday from Gleyber on the defensive side. And on the fun base stealing side. Who knows, maybe we're in for a more run-happy team this year. Could be fun. Couple more other things I loved from that game on Monday. One was actually on the media side. So Who do they have calling that game for television? Well, it was Michael Kay, who does majority of the Yankees broadcasts on the Yes Network over the course of the year. But paired with him was John Sterling, who is the radio voice of the Yankees, of course, notoriously and famously and wonderfully so. But the two of them used to be radio partners back in the day, and they haven't broadcast a game together in, I think, 20 years now. So Yes Network thought it'd be fun to throw them together on the on-air broadcast. And you know, it was kind of fun. I mean, clearly John Sterling is used to doing radio, so it was a little bit of a pivot for him. But they worked beautifully together, and it was just fun to hear those voices. I enjoyed it. This is a photo of them back from when they used to work together, so obviously this was how they looked a couple decades back. But man, it was just enjoyable to hear two guys having as much fun together in the booth as they seemed to. I think that's actually one of the things I like about the Yankees broadcasts in general. When you get David Cohn in there, or Paul O'Neill in there, or Ken Singleton, these former players, it's clear they have a really good time talking to each other, and I think that's actually part of what makes a good broadcast. What does not make a good broadcast is radio announcers who get bored halfway through and start telling totally unrelated stories. Looking at you, Tigers team from the Tuesday game. Spring training is pretty boring for commentators, I imagine, and also a little confusing because by the 6th inning, who's even playing the field? We don't know. But if you're telling stories about managers that don't work for the team anymore, and I have no idea who's even batting, it's not the best. So I appreciated that Sterling and Kay kept it on point and a lot of fun. So that was cool about Monday as well. The last highlight from this week for me was it's Erin Hicks. So again, this Monday game, spring training, they can do fun stuff like throw a mic on a player when they're playing the field, which is what they did with center fielder Erin Hicks. And he was just chatting away with the guys, and suddenly there's a line drive hit to center field. And Michael Kay had previously asked Hicks if he could do a play-by-play as he was running. Of course, no one can do that. That's a lot. But Erin Hicks' reaction to this ball was, he's talking, crack of the bat, and what you hear is, oof. Got it. It was great. You heard him grunt and then start sprinting, and then he did in fact make the not super easy catch and just said, got it. Like, yeah, what'd you expect? I'm a great center fielder. Of course I got it. It was just really hilarious to hear a guy in real time, because I can't imagine they're really talking very much normally when they're making plays, except for calling out to other fielders, I got it, you got it, location, back, whatever. But this was just delightful to hear the kind of not running commentary, but the breathing and you felt like you were really in the moment with him making that catch. I loved it. I wish they could do more like this in a regular season game, but I understand that you do not want anything distracting anybody in the field when the games count, so for sure. But really, really neat to have the mic'd up situation. I hope they can find some non-disruptive way to incorporate that in the future. It's delightful. And for some good news, we're not doing a whiteboard of doom today. Yay! However, I do have some updates on those already amongst the ranks of the fallen. We've got Robinson Churinos, who, if you recall, had a wrist fracture. Well, he got that second opinion he wanted, and it was unfortunately the same as the first opinion. So he's going to have surgery, which that just sucks for him. It remains to be seen what's going to happen with that. He's not on the Yankees 40-man roster, so no moves are made or anything as a result of this, but will he end up playing for the Yankees when he's healed? Who knows? Will a team need a catcher 6 weeks from now, 8 weeks from now when he's healed? Who knows? Remains to be seen, but unfortunately, yeah, he is out for the foreseeable future. And then Miguel Andujar, who had vague right hand wrist soreness issue. Well, the Yankees got that consult that they had looked for, and the clarifying comment was that what he actually has is a muscle strain / nerve issue in the right wrist. Still pretty vague, and we don't love the idea of nerve issue. That seems hard to fix and or maintain and or control, so not sure what the deal with Miggy is. I really, really was hoping they'd find a way for him to get some at-bats, because the tantalizing prospect of that amazing production on offense was a lot. I was really excited, but seems like shrug. They gave no timeline, and since the injury itself is so vague, I wouldn't even begin to speculate. So I guess all I can do is say I hope that it's manageable and not too severe, and they can find a way to get him back on the field, because inevitably we will need him, and it'll be cool to have Miguel Andujar be that guy who can come up and really make an impact when somebody inevitably gets hurt or needs a breather. So get well soon, Miggy. And then going from Miggy to Higgy, Kyle Higashioka, our backup catcher, presumptive, and really important, necessary piece of catching depth, especially since we lost Churinos. We're going to need Gary and Kyle to stay healthy. He has a side soreness concern. That's a new one for me. I'm hoping he just, overdid it in the side ups or like the side planks. I know after I do some Pilates and do those side planks, that can really get you right there in the obliques. I hope he hurt it strengthening himself and not actually hurt an oblique. That's what I'm hoping. Yankees say he's scheduled to catch on Saturday, which, if so, fantastic. I just need him to be healthy, able to catch, and maybe pop a homer now and then in classic Higgy style, but keeping an eye on that one. He doesn't get a whiteboard entry because I'm not considering this an injury until someone makes me. So don't make me. The other thing about spring training that's always kind of fun is seeing guys play out of position. This happened a couple times this week for us. First off, and I almost said alarming. I don't think it's alarming, but most sort of interestingly, Gio Urshela, the ace third baseman, so good with the glove, got put at shortstop for a game. He hasn't played shortstop in a very long time. I think he did growing up, but he also played with Francisco Lindor in the minor leagues. So when you've got Frankie on your team, you're probably not playing shortstop because he's a superstar shortstop. So anyway, Gio played short and it went uneventfully. But what that really said was they're trying to see if he can pass there, which makes me think they're reconsidering their options for the bench roles. Because Gleyber Torres is your shortstop, obviously, but there's no one else amongst the regulars who can really play short, unless Gio can. So I guess they're trying to figure out what they're comfortable rolling with in the event they need to make some swaps in and out on that bench and not carry maybe a true shortstop. Not good news to Tyler Wade if that's true, but I for now I'll assume he'll make the team until I've been told otherwise, but now I guess we've learned Gio Urshela can play short if he has to. The other one this week was Brett Gardner, longtime left fielder, center fielder, played right field, which is less of a stretch. That said, he has played how many professional games in right field? The answer is 1, just once. So this is definitely a change for him, and it seems like Boone made a statement to the effect that they're trying to make him into that true fourth outfielder type. The awesome fourth outfielder role, I believe, is how he said that, which is funny. Gardner is clearly a respected veteran who knew he was coming into this team to be a fourth outfielder. But to be a really effective fourth outfielder, it's helpful if you can actually back up everyone. In the past, if Aaron Judge needs a day off, or God forbid gets hurt, or whatever else needs a DH day, we've seen Clint Frazier play right and Gardner play left. But it seems like now that Clint Frazier is gonna be the left fielder, they understandably want to get him settled and comfortable there and not move him all over the place. In which case, having Gardy play right is actually incredibly useful for the team's flexibility. Gardner's a great outfielder, so with a couple reps out there, I'm sure he'll be fine. But that was this week's out of position. I don't know if I like that move. So that was this week's out of position update. So I pretty much mentioned all of the Yankees outfielders already, and that actually works out nicely because today is the day to look at the outfield and what we're expecting for the roster. Not that many questions here, really. Not that many questions at all across the Yankees roster, but in the outfield, I think we pretty much know what we're going to see. And I will start in left field, where I just ended, with Clint Frazier. So Clint Frazier was acquired by the Yankees in the Andrew Miller trade back in the same year they acquired Gleyber Torres. That was 2016 when they traded away all their good bullpen pieces because they weren't going to make the postseason, and they acquired some incredible talent, and Clint Frazier is one of those guys. He is spunky and full of personality. He's got bright red hair, which is fun and rare in life and in baseball. He got into a couple of scrapes his first couple years with the Yankees, sort of wasn't used to the big media market and was struggling to find a way to both be himself, which we obviously want, and also to sort of fit into that Yankees media mold, which is to not make too much of a stir, not draw too much attention to yourself. You obviously want to be noticed when you're playing well, not because there's some weird drama about your hair. In any event, Clint Frazier has grown up a lot over these past couple years, both as a person and as a player. He looks great now. So for years we were kind of banging the drum of when does Clint Frazier get a chance, and last year he really got one because of all the injuries again, and he played better than we've seen. It was very impressive. It was exactly what we wanted to see, and as a reward for that, Aaron Boone this spring said that he's expecting Clint Frazier to be the starting left fielder, which that's gotta be a relief for the kid. Coming into spring training, knowing you're not competing for a spot, but instead you are just getting ready for your year, whole different mindset, super great. So we love that for Clint. He actually also last year was a Gold Glove finalist. The knock on him a bit was his defense, and he seems to have really, really worked his butt off and improved that. So really couldn't be happier about this. Super excited to see what Clint does. The long time quote that everyone will continue saying about Clint Frazier until the end of time is when he was acquired, Brian Cashman said that he had, quote, legendary bat speed. And that's true, you can see it when he swings. He does really get that bat through the zone very quickly, generates some great force that way, and can hit for power, as well as we think for average, probably too. So that's fun. Legendary bat speed, Clint Frazier with the bright red hair. He's got also ginger cats, which is fun, and he is such a sneakerhead. Like, I know most ball players of all sports are into sneakers a lot, but if you look at his Instagram, it is basically just photos of himself, his cats, and his sneakers, which that's pretty adorable. I'm into it, and I'm excited for Clint Frazier to be our left fielder in 2021. Let's go, Clint. Sliding over to center field, it is going to be Erin Hicks. Erin Hicks, a very unheralded acquisition who has done very well for the Yankees. He's excellent on defense, which we always knew. He's a center fielder, and he's got the speed, he's got the hands, he's got the range, all the things. We've seen him make some amazing plays. This is what I think of when I think of Erin Hicks first now. It was this incredible game in 2019 against the Minnesota Twins. It had been back and forth, dramatic, extra innings game. The Yankees had just taken another lead in extra innings, and the bases were loaded with Twins with 2 outs and Chad Green on the mound. And Max Kepler was batting, and I'll never forget, hearing the sound of the bat on the ball. It seemed like it was going towards the gap, and the Twins were going to at least tie the game. They were down by 2, if not clear the bases and win it. And all of a sudden, Erin Hicks makes this incredible dive, makes the catch fully airborne, and saves the game. Unbelievable. I screamed so loud, I woke up my roommate. And it was worth it, because it was an amazing play. It even got made into a t-shirt. I mean, that's when you know you've made a good play. So we love seeing Erin Hicks back in center field. His defense is great. He did have to have Tommy John surgery after 2019, and so last year was his first year back from that. He actually, because of a delayed start to last season, he missed no time, which is miraculous. But it does take a little while to get that arm back to full strength, and his throwing arm. So he noted that his arm strength didn't feel quite back yet, but he says this spring, all the difference in the world, feels 100%. So excited to see him be able to make those power throws. He's the kind of guy that throws upwards of 95 miles an hour from the outfield to home plate, so having that cannon back in working order is excellent. Plus, he's a switch hitter, so there are going to be a lot of days, I think, when he's the only lefty in the Yankees lineup when they're facing a righty, which is crazy, but he's going to play a big part on that team. So we're looking forward to him on both sides of the ball. The fun fact about Erin Hicks, I think, is that he's also an incredible golfer. I've never seen him golf myself, but apparently he got a hole-in-one on some legit course this offseason. That's pretty cool. And it gets talked about a lot that he is just a scratch golfer. So good for Erin Hicks. Maybe don't play him in golf. He'll probably beat you. He'll also beat you in baseball. He's a great athlete. So that's going to be Erin in center field. Going from center to right, we have another Erin, and of course it's Aaron Judge. The man needs no introduction. He came up in 2016 and then promptly became the face of the New York Yankees. That guy is unbelievable. He's a hitting machine. Obviously, his problem has been staying healthy because he is 6'7", pretty tall, even for a baseball player, especially for a baseball player. So a lot of strain in all those joints. He famously, as I already mentioned in a previous episode, started doing more yoga this off-season in hopes he'll be more flexible and less brittle. Not that I think he's brittle, but less likely to pull something here or there, because when that guy's on the field, he's a superstar. I don't think I need to say too much about Aaron Judge. I will continue to say that I think his defense is underrated. He's a really good defender. His height obviously helps, but he also moves extremely well, gets great reads in the ball. So all-around game there. The power numbers speak for themselves. He hits balls out to all parts of the ballpark, and there's a reason that he became a sensation pretty immediately. In fact, I think my favorite thing about Judge is, after he had only been up for a couple of months, he had an incredible beginning of his career, but the Yankees promptly installed the Judge's chambers in just sort of right of center field. So there's a whole little area, here it is, It's so cute. It's decorated like a little courtroom, and they'll give people those seats and give them little robes and foam gavels, and they can cheer for Judge in the judge's chambers, and of course it's right behind where he actually patrols right field. So that is really cool. I think everyone was sort of like, wow, the Yankees don't do fun stuff like this. They must be really into this Judge guy, and took a good gamble, but it was a correct gamble because his jersey is the most popular, not last year, but the past couple of years before that. He's a superstar. I'm giving him his own little mini attraction inside Yankee Stadium. It seems like the obvious call. We love Aaron Judge. With or without his new veneers, we love him either way, and I'm so excited to watch that guy hopefully have a healthy season because he is a game changer every time he is either at the plate or in the field. We love. So that's 3 outfielders, but there are 2 other outfielders who are definitely making the roster, and the first one is the aforementioned Brett Gardner. We love Brett Gardner. He is the longest tenured Yankee. In fact, he came up in 2008, so he's the only remaining member of that 09 championship-winning incredible team, and he was drafted by the Yankees in 2005, so he has never been in a different uniform. He's the kind of guy you really want to see retire a Yankee. He just is the pinstripes. He's the epitome of a guy who came with basically no fanfare, and all he's done is be incredibly consistent, a team leader, the hardest worker. He grinds out his at-bats, sees a gajillion pitches. He's one of the fastest guys on the team still now in his mid-late 30s. Just the kind of guy you always want playing for you. And his teammates love him. He's a clubhouse leader. It's been said by a lot of people. He brings a real wisdom with him, but also knows how to keep people in line and make sure they're having fun. Both really important things in a major league clubhouse. Or heck, really in any group. If you can keep people in line while also making sure they're having fun, you are doing your leadership job correctly. Take a page from Gardner's book. So as I mentioned before, Gardner had been a center fielder for the Yankees. He moved over to left field a couple years ago, and now it sounds like he's going to be really playing all 3 outfield positions, hopefully, which gives some nice roster flexibility for the Yanks. Anyone needs a day, Gardner can plug in that hole. He's a lefty bat, so he's going to get his at-bats because there are not a lot of lefties on this team, as you've said several times, so he'll be a valuable piece, sort of switch in and out as Aaron Boone decides he wants to. Gardner, I think the indicative story about Gardner that everyone tells is he, in college, wasn't recruited for baseball. He was a walk-on to his college baseball team. And he went from there to being a draft pick of the New York Yankees. He's just a kid that maybe doesn't have tools that jump off the page, but he does it all well, and he really sets an example for everyone else and elevates those around him. So, can't say enough about Brett Gardner. The fun thing about him is that he is definitely the prankster in the clubhouse. There are a lot of stories about this, you should look it up, but he just loves to prank people. He said on the R2C2 podcast, which I think I will probably end up plugging a lot here, that he tried to get Tyler Wade this spring training by taking his car keys and hiding them amongst Clint Frazier's belongings, hoping Frazier would leave and Clint would be stuck at the field with no way to get back to the hotel. Apparently Frazier, being the conscientious guy and good friend he is, noticed and gave them back, but that's the kind of thing that Gardy pulls all the time. He's a spark plug on the field, he's a spark plug off the field. Here's my other favorite memory of Gardner I think it was 2 years ago. There were a bunch of calls going against the Yankees. Gardner was frustrated, and he had been, kind of chirping at the umpires a little bit. And then, in protest, he decided to take his bat and start just banging it against the roof of the dugout. The umpires did not like this. He got ejected immediately, but it is fun. There was a whole bunch of t-shirts out there, Let Brett Bang. He's the kind of guy that plays with that kind of intensity, and you love to see it. So welcome back, Brett Gardner. And the 5th outfielder who we know is going to make the roster is Giancarlo Stanton. What do you say about this guy? Just like Judge, he is a physical specimen. He's a giant, and he is just like the most muscly dude ever. He, like Judge, tends to get hurt, and because they have similar body types, they both took a similar approach this offseason, again with the yoga. Hopefully, again, it'll help him stay on the field, because I said Judge is a huge strong man, he is, but nobody hits baseballs as hard as Giancarlo Stanton. He's got something like he's got half a leaderboard of exit velocity that's all just him. He regularly hits balls over 115 miles an hour, which is really hard to do, and sometimes you watch him kind of miss a pitch and it still rockets over the wall. He hits them long and he hits them really far with great velocity. So that's Giancarlo Stanton. I think partially in an effort to keep him healthy, they've said he's going to mostly DH and not play the field. Now he's taking some reps in left, and obviously it's really helpful if he can play the field, but it's probably more helpful to keep him in the lineup in some way or other. So we expect that he'll probably, though he is an outfielder, get mostly DH days this year. And I'm looking forward to some scorched balls, just like up the middle, over the fences, maybe hit from the Bronx all the way to Queens. Who knows? I think he can do it. It's pretty cool to watch him hit. And this spring, he's been on fire. I mean, everything is flying off his bat. It is really, really cool to see. We can't forget last postseason. He hit homers in, I think, 5 straight games. It was crazy. He was on a tear. So hopefully he can pick up right where he left off, because that guy is intimidating in the batter's box and an incredible asset to the lineup. The thing about Giancarlo is a little quiet, I think, in interviews. He's a little restrained. I mean, coming from Miami, which I think literally has the fewest average fans and attendance per game, to New York City is a giant shift. He came in with huge expectations, having previously won MVP and a home run title. So I think a little bit of reserve made sense. But I will say this about him. I'm going to show you a couple of photos here from Giancarlo Stanton's Instagram. And first off, the guy has some fashion sense. He makes bold choices and he pulls them off. I cannot wear these things. I would look ridiculous, but somehow he manages to look really cool. So I love that about Stanton. I kind of wish we got more of baseball players wearing cool stuff. I hope that more guys use their Instagram platforms for this purpose. We love seeing your fashion, especially when it's kind of unique. Also, when you have those abs and those arms to show off, I guess show them off. And then this week, Giancarlo Stanton posted this to his social media. I'm not sure what this actually means, which I guess is fair because it literally, the caption is ambiguous, so clearly the meaning is ambiguous. To me, ambiguous kind of sounds like a cologne that he's doing an ad for. A cologne for guys that don't want to be pigeonholed. You want to be everything you want to be. Be this, be that, be ambiguous. Be a slugging outfielder who's also a fashion icon. Do the cover of Sports Illustrated with muscles on your muscles, but also have your eyebrows perfectly groomed. Do it all! Do it all, Giancarlo, and sell that ambiguity. I am all about it. I love this. I found it confusing in a fun way. Intriguing. I love it. So, Giancarlo Stanton, your ambiguous but thrillingly powerful and exciting DH/left fielder. And that is the outfield. The last guy I'm going to touch on briefly here is Jay Bruce. Jay Bruce, who has played with a bunch of teams over the years. He was with the Mets, and the Yankees thought they might end up getting him in a trade, but instead he went to the Indians, who were incredible that year. He's good. He's a corner outfielder / first baseman / DH. Not super marvelous defensively at any of those positions, but he can play right, left, first. I mean, he's helpful, and he's a big left-handed power hitter. So the Yankees picked him up as a non-roster invitee. He's a veteran, so if he doesn't make the team, he'll definitely opt out and play somewhere else. But it seems to me like maybe the Yankees are trying to find a way they could fit him on their bench. He doesn't give you that great versatility that someone like a Tyler Wade does, who can play all the positions, but he does give you something you don't have, which is a left-handed slugger. And he started out this spring really hot. He's kind of cooled off a little bit, but he's also played okay defense at first and in left. So, I don't know, something to keep an eye on. I don't have anything fun about Jay Bruce because I don't know him that well, but I guess if he makes the team, we'll keep an eye out for what makes him unique and special. But in the meantime, we're just going to watch how spring unfolds and see if maybe he ends up on the bench as an extra outfielder / first baseman / DH lefty. Keep an eye on that. Okay, friends, that's going to do it for me today, but I will leave you, as always, with a quote, and this one is from the master of words himself, William Shakespeare. This is a quote from Measure for Measure. He said, "Oh, it is excellent to have a giant's strength, but it is tyrannous to use it like a giant." Well, I think the common theme amongst these outfielders is they've got a giant's strength, and to be quite honest with you, I hope they do wield that strength tyrannously and rule the American League East with an iron fist. Come on, guys. Go get 'em. And that's it for today. Until next time, everybody, keep enjoying these spring training games. We're getting closer to the real day. And as always, go Yanks.